story of Infosys, one of India's most successful post-liberalisation stories, has been well told. But what is less well known is how Infosys the business finds roots in the love story of Sudha Murty and Narayana Murthy. A self-confessed leftist, a 28-year-old Narayana Murthy fell in love with Sudha Kulkarni, an engineer who had stormed her way into what was formerly TELCO, now Tata Motors, becoming the first woman to work on the company's shop floor. A few years later, she would unknowingly become one of India's best angel investors, putting down 10,000 rupees, virtually all her savings, to fund Murthy's dream. The recently launched book by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, An Uncommon Love, details the love story of Murthy and Murty.
She was very young, full of joy, full of humor, full of joie de vivre. It was, she lit up the room.
Was it love at first sight for you?
I would say yes for me, but I don't know what she thinks. So I hope she too thinks so, but...
Was it love at first sight for you, Mrs. Murty? No.
Because I was brought up in engineering college, only girl, with all male members, my classmates, friends. So talking to any other young man is as good as talking to a friend.
Huh.
It is not like, oh, if I meet a young man, I fall in love. No, I was not that kind. And I knew how to talk to a boy without feeling shy. So it was not...
No, shy or not? And you haven't been. I mean, you were the only woman to start working at TELCO on the shop floor, creating history. So you've created history and broken barriers and pushed boundaries in your own way in the 70s.
So for me, it is like any other young, bright fellow. I met him. Prasanna's friend. Prasanna was my colleague at TELCO.
Up and coming fellow.
Up and coming fellow. I want the two of you to relive the proposal, which quite romantically actually happened in an auto rickshaw in Pune. So, and it was completely spontaneous because you hadn't actually planned to do that. So how did that happen?
We were young. What is there? Decided to marry.
We were more spontaneous.
50 years back, I met Murthy 50 years back.
Yeah, and...
saal pehle.
not 49 and 3 months because October Sunday. No, but those days you're young, you don't, you're quite exuberant. You kind of, because you're exuberant and spontaneous, sometimes you don't analyze what you say very carefully before saying. And of course, when you're sitting next to a young girl, of course, the rickshaw driver is there in the front. But,
as witness.
Yes, absolutely. And we were coming from East Street in Pune. Of course, you've been in Pune, yes. So you know it very well. I don't need to describe to you. We had gone to Chungfa there.
But Pune has changed a lot from our time.
And then, by then, in some way, I knew I was going to take up a job because I had closed Softronics, and I had already got some inkling of what I would do, and I was a lot more confident. And there was, of course, a lot of skepticism from her side, father's side. Obviously, I don't blame him. For Akshata, I would have done the same thing. And so, in some way, there was that hurry, there was that exuberance, and I said, yeah, this is the time.
And you didn't think whether you should give it some time to think about it? You said yes immediately.
Well, by that time we knew each other for 4 years. 4 years. It's not a small time. And I knew what he is by that time. Okay.
Eventually that culminated into the two of you getting married on the 10th of February 1978. And it wasn't an easy battle to win because you had to convince your father. You didn't do a very good job of trying to convince him when you showed up in a red shirt and showed up late. So you didn't win brownie points with your future father-in-law clearly, and had to work hard on that relationship. And you were very clear about how you wanted to do your wedding, a small wedding, and that didn't earn you sort of points from either families either. What was that like, to be able to negotiate one of the most significant events of your life on your own terms?
I have 75 first cousins. I come from a huge family. Everybody has a family tree. I have a family forest. Okay, and it was the first wedding in my family, in the sense in my father's house. And naturally, when we celebrate that, all my cousins will turn up, and it will be minimum 200 people on my side, and apart from Murthy's. So actually, and Murthy thought about it. By doing that, what happens ultimately? People will come, eat, talk, and enjoy and go back. But we should know how we should live. Marriage is not one day event. It may be one day event for the parents and others. For us, it is a commitment for lifelong. So we said, let us be very simple, because we lived simple way. We should make our marriage in a very simple way. 800 rupees. We spent 800 rupees for the marriage. Together, 400 he paid, 400 I paid. My father was very upset because they wanted to make a grand wedding. And I told no, only my siblings and his siblings should come for the wedding. Then he said, I can't do it in Hubli, because in Hubli culture, if 8 people are called for the wedding, people will think that I'm runaway or a bride, that kind of, there's something wrong. He said, how can we perform in Hubli? He was a doctor and a professor. So every other person in Hubli, either a patient or his student. Okay. So he said, I have so much people. I mean, we have lived there 50 years. I can't do with 8 or 10 people. Then Murthy's mother, a very nice lady, she offered, we'll do in Bangalore, in the house. So on my side, there were 5 people or 6 people. My parents plus we 3 siblings, we are 4 children. Yeah. My aunt and my uncle who brought me up, because my grandparents were not there. And about 6, 7 on my end, and on Murthy's side, his siblings. That's it. Okay, that's it. And Murthy told me, the choice is, I'll give you 300 rupees. You want to buy a Mangal Sutra or you want to buy a sari? I said, sari will not last long, maybe Mangal Sutra will last long. I said, okay, I will have Mangal Sutra in a thread, not even in gold. Okay, that's it.
Well, and, you know, sorry, go ahead.
No, come in.
You know, we had a lunch at the Raghavendra Swami temple, walking distance from our home. My mother used to live on 33rd Cross, 11th Main, and very within walking distance we had a Raghavendra Swami temple, and we had lunch there. The marriage itself was about half an hour, and she had tutored the priest, because she knows Sanskrit. The priest didn't know Sanskrit as well as she did. So she selected the various verses, and then it was all over in half an hour. Then we went to the temple, we had our lunch there, and by about 11:30, 11:45, it started at 10:30, by about 11:45, everything was
all done. And there was a special wedding gift that she gave you. There was an account of all the money that she had spent on your dates, which amounted to about 4,200 rupees.
Right. I was pretty good in that sense. I kind of, you know, I made her pay for all our dinners.
He started his own company, he did not have money.
Before that, you know, I voluntarily took half the salary at the Systems Research Institute, where I joined after I came back from Paris. I said, look, this is a startup and I want to make some sacrifice, otherwise startups don't mean anything. So I just took half the salary. Professor Krishna was a little bit uncomfortable and surprised. I said, no, don't worry, this is fine. So therefore, I hardly had any money. I would finish my money latest by 6th, 7th of a month, and then I would sponge on her.
I actually didn't know the reason why you spell your surname as M-U-R-T-Y and you spell it as M-U-R-T-H-Y was because you believe that Sanskrit version of Murty is most appropriate spelled M-U-R-T-Y.
Because Sanskrit is a perfect language. And because for every pronunciation there is a letter. So when I said T-H-Y, I said that is th. And Murty in Sanskrit is, Narayana Murthy, Vasudeva Murty. This is a kind of a name where you can visualize that. Murty is a statue, so it cannot be T-H-Y. So one of the conditions in marriage is I will not write my surname T-H-Y because against the Sanskrit spelling. And that is our origin actually.
And you had no
not
issue
only
with that.
her, even her children, our children.
Yes. Our Murty and not Murty.
Yeah, exactly.
And you had no issues with that?
No, not really, because I was quite open-minded, quite modern in these things. Therefore, I said what is important is that we should start off with give and take wherever possible, and we should agree to disagree without being disagreeable. We should give space to each other so that both of us can operate freely, and that our identity can be shaped. So these were some of the ideas that I started with, and then I said, look, whatever I've tried to do in life, as a great follower of Mahatma Gandhi, my belief is I should lead by example. I have tried to lead by example in almost everything that I have done in life. So therefore, I said if I have to insist on whether T or THY, I thought that was not the right thing.